Brett, welcome to the Born or Made podcast.
Larry, thanks so much for having me in beautiful Austin, Texas.
Yes, sir. I finally get to see your face.
Yeah, I know. We had a great call about 2 months ago, I would
Months
say.
ago, yeah.
And we, my protein powder company had some stock out issues. So my co-founder, Harry, and I were like, well, we need to reach out to all of our subscribers to let them know what's going on and see if they want to swap their product. And you and I ended up jamming for like an hour, which was incredible. So I just loved your energy. You know, we had the Austin connection point, and now we're actually getting to meet in person.
Yeah, that's exciting. Yeah, I can't wait to talk about all your stuff. I told you the other day, the flavor, by the way, folks, we'll talk about their product, is just amazing, the chocolate. So first thing we like to ask everybody is, where were you born?
Where was I born?
Where were you born
I was born in Princeton, New Jersey.
Third New Jersey guy this week.
Are you serious?
Yes. I don't know.
That's
Y'all
incredible.
No wonder Texas is changing.
I know.
All these
I
darn
know.
Yankees coming down
30
here.
years ago, no chance, unacceptable. But now it's so transient that you meet a lot of people from the Northeast. But yeah, from New Jersey originally. My parents are from New Jersey as well too, and they actually still live in the same house that I grew up in. So live like they're about 10 minutes from Princeton University. And it's that type of place where even though I love Austin so much, I also love going home. We were talking about, the Northeast seasons are fantastic outside of the winter for an extended period of time. But I love just being able to get those hits when I go home and come back. So
something about a crisp spring or fall morning that we just don't understand in Texas.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you go out there, it's 40 degrees, no humidity, and you're walking around in shorts.
Totally.
And it just, it's amazing.
It's different.
So obviously that answers a lot of my first thoughts is, so you K through 12, you were kind of in that same market, same house.
Same house.
Yeah.
Same public school. My dad was a big baseball player in college.
Okay.
So I was by default a baseball player as well too. And incredible parents. I have one sister. But yeah, I feel like a lot of my childhood was just I was a little bit of a late bloomer too, but I feel like my dad was big and kind of reinforced my belief of like, hey, when you get older, you're going to be better than all these other kids. And that was really like my first learning lesson around like hard work actually does pay off, and discipline, and, the fact that baseball is like, it is such a game of failure. Cause I mean, you go 3 for 10 career-wise, you're in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, you're a great player.
Yeah. So there's just so many mental models and good learning lessons from the sport. But yeah, that was a lot of my life growing up.
So did you ever get into any other sports, or was kind of baseball your deal?
Pretty much always baseball, but what I'll tell you is I went through a phase, because baseball was my dad's love and by default mine too, but I got really into tennis in middle school all through high school, and I just loved that sport so much, because that was when you had Federer, Nadal, Djokovic, the big three all going, and I just love like the fast-paced nature of it. I actually liked the fact that it wasn't a team sport, an individual sport, and that's something I've been thinking more of in my 30s is, instead of golfing, I'm like, I want to get back to playing tennis.
But talk about failure.
Totally.
I mean, those guys lose one match, they're done.
They're done. Yeah.
Yeah.
You could have the best tournament ever. You have an off game, an off set, whatever, and then you totally tank the whole
off,
tournament.
and the other guy's hot, and you're done.
Did you see that Netflix, they just came out with this Nadal documentary?
No, but I will watch it for sure.
You will love it. If I know you the way I think I'm starting to know you, it's because it's like a 4-part documentary, just follows his whole career, just like his discipline, his intensity, like his relationship with his uncle Tony, who coached him from the time he was like 5 years old to the time he was like 35. And even just because this is like the first behind the scenes look you get into Nadal's career, and just learning about the number of injuries that he had while he won 22 slams. And I'm like, oh, dude, if he didn't have those injuries, he probably would have won 30 Grand Slams.
The intensity that guy has. Because the one I watched, the most recent one of great athletes, was Rory McIlroy did his, and his was great, different. But I mean, he was talking about winning the Grand Slam when this kid was just a little, buck-toothed kid, with the 2 big beaver teeth, and he's like, I'm going to be a Grand Slam winner. I mean, he was, and you're like, and then people are like, well, that's pretty bold. And then finally, I wasn't a huge fan of his for a while.
Yeah.
But then it's later on now I'm a huge fan, and then for him to finally get it, I was like, way to go, man. Like,
yes.
And he was honest about mental, like his, mind, body, spirit. His mind was his biggest nemesis.
Totally.
And I was like, wow. So anyway, I didn't mean to digress.
No.
So, so baseball, you get out of high school, you're going to go off, you're doing D1, D3, what were you in baseball? Where'd you go to school?
I first played at Seton Hall University.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I played there for about a year and a half. And then I ended up transferring to Babson College, small school up in Boston. And that was a Division III school. So that's where I finished out playing. But that was my whole thing in high school, was like just being able to prove I could get like a Division I scholarship. And so I had a really good high school career, but I had a really good arm, was a good hitter, but was just kind of a little bit small and undersized. And so I didn't really get recruited by a lot of colleges. So I did a postgraduate year at a prep school called the Hunt School of Princeton. And I was a bit of a late bloomer. So I felt like that extra year allowed me to mature. And yeah, because I had a strong throwing arm, my high school coach was like, hey, when you go to some of these showcases, you should just start pitching a little bit too, because maybe it'll help get some additional looks. And like, I think the first time I ever actually pitched, I think I threw 89, and then the numbers just kept going up every time I would throw that summer. So it was like 89, then 90, 91, 92. And I ended up getting over like 20 Division I scholarships, but primarily as a pitcher, but I was really a hitter. And so Seton Hall, they didn't want me to do two-way. They just wanted me to pitch. And a lot of people in baseball, they'll say that pitchers aren't really athletes because it's just such an isolated, But I just kind of felt like a fish out of water and just did not have a great freshman year there and ended up transferring. But yeah, Babson is where I ended up finishing things out up in Boston.
I've never heard anybody say that a pitcher wasn't an athlete, because the guy I hunted with, Todd Worrell, he played for the Cardinals, and if you saw that guy, he was an athlete. He's huge. He's huge.
Yeah.
And you see, especially when you see these slow or these fixed pictures where you guys are, your feet are 7 feet out in front of you, and your arm is like here, and you're like, that's an athlete.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, I think people more so say that just because they don't train like the outfielders or the infielders or the hitters, or you have like a lot more free time. You're kind of doing your drills and you're throwing your bullpen or you're throwing live in the game, and that's pretty much it. But yeah, I mean, I had so many good lessons in college, just adversity around like going to school with the sole intention of trying to play professional baseball, that getting derailed, so much of your identity being tied up into it. But looking back, it's like now I'm about to be 32. I'm like, I'm really glad I experienced that at that age. And I think like the more adversity you can try to stack in as a young guy, the better your life will, it'll turn out to be.
Yeah, I've never really heard anybody think of it or say it that way, but you're right. I mean, more often, I mean, it's just going to make you better long term.
Yes.
Yeah. So did you have any like big injuries when you're in baseball, or did you come out pretty healthy?
Yeah, I mean, I tore my, going into my freshman year, I tore my UCL, which is like the Tommy John surgery, but I didn't need Tommy John. The surgeon was like, no, I think with like this was 2013, so PRP had just come out. So he's like, I think you could just take some PRP, you can rehab it and not need the surgery. And then I dislocated my knee one year, I dislocated my shoulder, but like nothing like super crazy or like really debilitating long-term or anything like that.
So what were you going to get your degree in? What were you deciding?
So Babson is interesting because it's known for their entrepreneurship program.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
One of the founders of Home Depot, Arthur Blank, went to Babson like in the 60s. And so he's just like poured money into the school. But it's a really cool program because when you're a freshman, one of the intro entrepreneurship classes, you go into small teams, and then the school actually gives you like $3,000 or $4,000, and you're supposed to spend the entire year like creating a business. And then a lot of the professors were like, former Big Four accounting guys or private equity guys or whatever, so people with legit corporate experiences. So that's what I majored in, but probably not surprising, still like 95+% of my classmates just end up kind of on like the traditional career trajectory.
So what was your first business that you did when you were in college and you had your $3,000? What was y'all's business plan?
It was actually, it was like a virtual fitness app. So I was partnered, I think it was like 7 or 8 kids on the team. And it was probably like an earlier version of like what Ladder would be, just having like, your meal plan in there, being able for it to like track your macros, style of training, kind of like a personal, like a customized virtual fitness experience. So
which now is very popular.
Totally.
Like this morning when I was in the gym, there was a lady there and she had her little cell phone and she was doing all of her yoga and lifting and weights. And I looked over and I'm like, oh, she's watching a video.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you could have kept control of that, and you wouldn't even be sitting here right now. You'd already be a billionaire.
That's why you got to keep going, man.
You got to
right?
keep driving. That's
Yeah.
right.
And it's funny because that was probably 2015. So I think even like the professor and other people in the class, they were kind of like, I don't know if you should, do you really want to like control your fitness on your phone and stuff like that? And like you were saying, like you flash forward, you're like, so many people want that experience because it just makes it very easy.
This is our computer. I mean, I've got this whoop now, and I'm watching all my data. I mean, so I was laughing literally like, what a great business plan. You actually had a $1 billion idea.
Totally.
Yeah, in 2014, everybody's like, that'll never happen. People aren't using their phones that much.
Yeah.
Now we have our own personal computer. Yeah, walking around.
How do you feel you are with the Whoop? Do you ever find like, can you go too deep into the data?
Yeah, I did it first. I got kind of competitive because you can get in these groups and you're trying to be in the top percentiles of all the 60-year-olds in the United States or the 60-year-olds in Virginia. That's what got me in a little bit of trouble, so I don't look at that anymore. So now it's more, I just watch my sleep patterns, which are terrible. I didn't know I didn't get enough sleep. And I'm not the guy that goes, I don't need 4 hours. Like I need 7 or 8 hours sleep.
Yeah.
And I'm running hard all the time. And then HRV. And then I watch my heart rate, which I've been watching my heart rate since 2001, probably 2000 when I was training for my first marathon. I learned about heart rate. That was that was the only data, and you'd sit there and hold it and figure out what it was and stuff like that.
Totally.
So long answer, yes, I did, but now I don't. But I do use it mainly. The number one thing I look at is my sleep. Yeah, because we just don't. We have a society that thinks it's super cool to not sleep.
Definitely. It's the first thing to go, right?
Yeah.
If you're a hard worker, sleep is the first thing. Don't eat as much of it.
Yeah. And you seem to get through it. And it's like, dehydration. You got to drink a lot of water. And until you're dehydrated, once you're dehydrated, it's already too late. Same thing with sleep. But I guess based on my pattern, I've been probably doing it for, 30 years.
Totally.
It's not healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you get out of college, entrepreneur. What are you going to do? What are you doing right after you get out of college?
So my first job was I worked at AIG, the insurance company, on their sales team. So selling property casualty insurance. Yeah. And Babson is interesting because a lot of the kids, because it's the school's 20 minutes outside of the city, a lot of kids end up in Boston. I grew up an hour outside of New York, so I went to New York all the time as a kid, and there was just something about the the skyscrapers, the energy, you get off the train and people's pace immediately like picks up when you get in the city. That was always just like so attractive to me. So I was in New York for about 4 years. So yeah, AIG. And then I worked at an InsurTech startup as like their first sales hire for about 3 years, which was the most fun I'd ever had. And then I did a stint in consulting at EY, and that was like my last corporate gig prior to starting Harry and I's podcast, and then subsequently Noble.
So when you took the entrepreneur class, were you thinking you were going to be an entrepreneur? Because was your dad an entrepreneur, or was that just your mom? Or
no, my dad was a corporate sales guy. He's had like 3 jobs his whole career.
Yeah.
But what's funny is I remember when I was at AIG, they made all of the analysts take some type of like corporate personality test, and they give you all the different shapes and where you chart on there. And I remember being 21 and the entrepreneur archetype, like my shape was, say it was like a triangle, it was like almost exactly that to a T. It was like a 1-for-1 match. And the thing was I loved all the jobs that I was having, and I felt like those career paths like prepped me and sharpened the axe perfectly for what we're doing now. I just didn't know like, hey, what type of business should I start? I want to own my own thing, but what does that ultimately look like? And really that answer was like nutrition and health and wellness. It was staring me in the face the whole time. I just didn't put 2 and 2 together of like, hey, you could actually take your passion for health and wellness and like find a way to monetize that. So
let's go back then. So like in high school and stuff, were you really kind of watching it, or did you get more in tune to like your health and wellness? I mean, because obviously when you're going into D1, look, you got some advantages because genetically you've got some good markers, right? So you already had an advantage just because that you were born that way, which is awesome, right? But then you got to start tweaking things. Were you doing that in college and high school, or did you just kind of muscle through it and just ate cheeseburgers? And
yeah. Well, my college experience was like because I felt like I was so single. I had such a singular focus in high school where it was like, I just want to prove I can play baseball at a really high level. I want to get drafted. I don't really care about anything else. So like, didn't drink, didn't really date, was just focused on like school baseball. That was pretty much it. And then I felt like when I get to college and start going to the baseball parties and getting a taste of those things, it's like, oh wow, this is actually really fun. I really like this. I'm actually like a pretty insecure guy, but when I'm, boozing or whatever, I kind of like this like charismatic version of myself or whatever. But yeah, my whole college experience was like, like a ton of ultra processed foods, didn't know how to cook anything, binge drinking, not sleeping. And I think the kicker was just like chronically stressed out, just like fear of failure, wanting to live up to my own expectations and performing, which I think ultimately materialized in my senior year, getting diagnosed with autoimmune issues and had really crippling ulcerative colitis.
Really?
Yeah, that was
so
how
you were worrying.
Oh, bad. Yeah, I was like shitting blood like 30 times a day, was in the hospital. I lost like 30 plus pounds. When I got a colonoscopy, my colon was like this super dark red color because I just had ulcers like all throughout my colon. And I didn't realize this at the time, but clearly it was like a byproduct of the way that I was living for 4 years. And I think stress was kind of the thing that ultimately like pulled the gun on everything and made me get that diagnosis. But what they tell you with a lot of these diseases is that you're going to have it for the rest of your life. So the goal is to really get you in a remission through medication. So like, I really like my doctor's incredible dude, great bedside manner, but they're not really speaking about the root cause of why did this happen. It's more so like,
this pill.
yeah, totally. Yeah. So for me, it was like, prednisone. So an oral steroid, a over-the-counter drug called Lialda, and then I was on this biologic drug that I would get through an infusion called Remicade. And so in my early 20s, I was getting those infusions every 8 weeks, and they were like 50 grand a pop. They're super expensive. So luckily I was on my father's healthcare plan, so it was covered through insurance. But I'm like, dude, if you had UC and didn't have good insurance, like I don't even know what you would do because these drugs are so expensive. So yeah, so that was kind of like, that was my early 20s and just accepting, hey, this is probably going to be the rest of my life. And then 2019 hits, I'm probably like 24, 25 years old. And then the carnivore diet starts to get more popular. Sean Baker, Joe Rogan, a lot of guys like that. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And I start doing a little bit more research on it. And I start finding these other people on Reddit and the internet that are claiming that they have Crohn's, colitis, rheumatoid arthritis, eczema, that have been doing this style of nutrition, and they're basically putting themselves fully into remission, or they're claiming they're outright curing it. And so then the light bulb starts to go off where you're like, all right, well, 25, I don't want to be on blood infusion the rest of my life.
Yeah, you still got 50 years.
Totally. Yes. So it was like kind of like belief before the protocol. I was like, oh, what if this works for me? And yeah, I remember going to Whole Foods in the Upper East Side for the first time and buying ribeyes and, ground beef and chicken thighs and eggs and like following the exact prescribed list that they're telling you to eat. And I remember staring at like the ribeye for the first time, thinking to myself, like, dude, am I going to have like, is my cholesterol going to get shot up? Am I going to die from this?
Absolutely.
Whatever, right?
Yeah.
Just all the propaganda.
You're going to be healthy, but you're going to die of a heart attack when you're 50.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things where, everyone has a different path with the diet. But for me, within the first few days, I was like, my stomach feels really good. Like I don't really feel the inflammation that I would normally feel. And oh, wow, I actually have like good energy. And I want to wake up 5 minutes before my alarm at 5:30 and go to the gym. And hey, my skin actually looks healthier too. And like, just started this compound,
Not
like
shitting blood.
Not shitting blood anymore. Like that's huge.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, I don't need to run to the restroom, and the interesting thing about UC is that most people that get diagnosed, it's actually young men in their 20s. And my theory for that is I think it's so embarrassing to talk about that young guys are like, fuck it, I'm just gonna like muscle through this or whatever. That's my theory. But yeah, as a young guy, you're like, okay, my life is revolving around being like, I need to be in the closest proximity to the nearest restroom because I don't know what's going to happen. Like, it's really embarrassing as a guy to not be able to control your own bowel movements. But anyway, all this stuff just started compounding. And I did that diet for about 2 years. And then I went back to the doctor and, you have to get a colonoscopy every 2 years because you have a higher percentage chance of getting colon cancer and other things like that. And inflammation went away, microinflammation went away. And he was like, you know what? I don't really ever do this, but because of the way you take care of yourself and the lab results and, the screens and everything like that, like, I think you're good to get off this medicine. And that was 2022. So for close to 5 years, I've been fully drug-free. So that was kind of like my food is medicine type moment. And I'm sure you've interviewed people and you see it all over social media now. Like a lot of people that are big in the health and wellness space, they have this really trying time in their life from a health standpoint. They figure out holistically how to overcome that. And that's like the catalyst for the rest of their life, which is pretty cool.
And we're getting some momentum, especially with products like y'all's, I was that guy. I mean, I was 60 years old. I'm taking 4 blood pressure pills a day. I'm still very healthy, very active. Just, they go, take this pill. My blood pressure went down. Of course, they don't ever ask you, like, how much vodka do you drink? Well, maybe half a gallon every 3 or 4 days. Oh, that could be a problem.
Yeah.
And so I'm taking 4 pills, but I noticed, like, I couldn't grow a beard because my face would hurt so bad. One day I'm sitting in the kitchen and I'm drooling. And my grandson goes, man, Pop, you're drooling. He goes, yeah, I know. And that was my moment. I'm like, I'm going to get off this crap. So I started doing research, started eating better.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, I'm like, I'm taking my blood pressure. And all of a sudden I'm like, whoa, this is getting low. So I quit taking a pill. Then I quit taking a second pill. Then I quit taking a third pill. Then I quit taking a fourth pill. I called the doctor. I'm like, hey, and they're like, oh, you can't do that. I'm like, here's my blood sugar. Really?
Yeah.
So I come in and they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, well, I quit drinking. I quit eating crappy food and I'm taking care of myself better.
Yeah.
And they're like, huh, okay. They never gave me that option.
Yes.
When they were trying to put me on all these pills.
I know. Yeah, it's so simple. You almost feel like dumb for saying that.
Yeah, you're like, really? And you're frustrated too because you're like, you couldn't just like ask me?
Mm-hmm.
Like, can you like, hey, what are you eating? I could say, oh, I'm only having 1 drink. But yeah, but it was 24 ounces of straight vodka.
Totally.
Well, we don't always tell our doctors. We all lie to our doctors, every one of us. And I'm like, okay. And then all of a sudden I'm like, wow, same thing with you. And then all of a sudden I've been on acid reflux medicine since 2007. Changed my diet, started doing this stuff. Guess what? I don't take it anymore.
Yeah.
Nobody ever told me that. They give you a pill and it goes away. And I didn't have to change any of my diet.
Wow. How old are you now?
62.
Okay, so a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So like fairly recent.
Yeah, I've been
awesome.
been off the acid reflux medicine now for 6 months, but it took me about a year to get off the blood pressure medicine.
Yeah.
But I just stuck with it.
Yeah.
And same thing like with you. And I did carnivore, paleo. I've done a lot of the different ones, and now I just try to don't eat processed foods.
That's where I'm at too.
That's it. I eat steak, I eat chicken. I don't, but I'm not like only carnivore.
Yeah.
I found your product because it was clean. I was like, well, this makes sense.
Yes.
That's how I met you, obviously. And I was like, well, this works for me. I don't have any stomach issues. I don't have any problems. And because you look at them, you look at it and it's like, wow, there's no stuff in here that I can't understand what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know this so well. Like the nutrition space is or health and wellness, it's so tribal. It's like you have to pick a camp. It almost feels like you have to pick a religion. Are you carnivore? Are you paleo? Are you vegan? Are you pescatarian? And I think because some of the more popular stuff that I've put out is like these older episodes of me kind of telling this health and wellness story, people just assume like, oh, you must still be carnivore. I'm like, no, I'm not. It's really like, I guess it's paleo-ish, but I try to prioritize animal protein. I like fruits. I like vegetables. Like when I go home to New Jersey, I'm going to have like a pizza and a beer with my parents. Like, similar to you, I just try to avoid the processed stuff, but that's not really the sexy answer. In 2026, they want you to pick a side and, gravitate to these ultra extremes. And then I feel for the person that's maybe, 20, 30 pounds overweight. Maybe their cholesterol panel is too high and they're just trying to get started and they don't really know where to go because every corner of social media, someone is screaming something different. So,
and we're going down this path though of still putting in a lot of drugs. I mean, there's still like, oh, there's this drug or this, peptides are a big deal. And I've used peptides. I'm actually a fan of them. But certain things and supplements are great, but there's still putting a lot of easy buttons.
Totally.
What's one in the BPL one, or what's that?
Well, the BPC?
The one, no, not the one now for the weight loss. What's that one? What's that one now? The one that everybody's taking the shot in the stomach and
Is the Retatrutide?
Yeah.
Is it like GLP-3?
GLP.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. And those are the ones now, everybody's like, so we got to still be careful. But at the end of the day, if you get off those and you don't change your lifestyle, you just put the weight back on.
Totally.
So what does it mean? Lifestyle.
Yeah. Reta is interesting too, because I think Reta is still going through trials, but I think.
So tell me about that. I don't know what that is. So tell me about that one.
So I think most of these weight loss drugs that we see are GLP-1s.
That's right.
Reta's a GLP-3.
That's okay. When you said 3, I thought, no, I thought it was 1. So 3's this new one.
It's this newer one. I don't think it's gone through like the rigorous testing that a GLP-1 has gone through, but the way that I understand it is that it has similar weight loss effects of a GLP-1, but there's something about it where you preserve more muscle mass too.
That's okay. That's
so like all of these people that have sunken in faces that abuse Ozempic or they don't change their lifestyle or whatever. I think Reta is supposed to help correct that a bit. But what I'm noticing is that there's a lot of like younger guys that are in their 30s and even their 20s that might have 10 to 20 pounds they want to lose or they want to get more shredded. And, they're opting to get on Reta or TRT. And that I have a buddy that was telling me like how well he's doing on Reta and he looks amazing. And he was like, on my own, I just can't regulate my appetite. Like, I just love to eat way too much food, and Reta helps me stop that. And I'm like, well, what are you going to do when you stop taking Reta? Because you haven't, there's something, whether it's emotional, habitual, I don't know what it is, but you're gravitating towards food. But when you stop taking the drug, which I'm assuming you will or you want to, what have you done underneath the hood to make sure you don't go back to doing that stuff?
Because at the end of the day, taking care of yourself and diet will work. It's just going to take time.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I mean, you've got to be put in the discipline and the consistency.
Yes.
So
yeah, it was a full year for you to get off of those blood medicine you were taking.
It took me a year. Yeah, it took me a year.
It's a lot of time of doing the right thing over the course of a year, where most people are like, it's 3 weeks.
Didn't work.
Maybe lost a couple pounds, and then they just go back to it. They don't let themselves compound. So
let's go down yours. So Noble. So you and Harry, how did y'all meet?
So we actually met in college. We played baseball together. He actually had stopped playing baseball his senior year, and then my junior year, I think I had mentioned I dislocated my knee, so I couldn't play the whole season. So we somehow I think we saw each other in the gym and just started training together and had some mutual friends. And he ended up after college. We graduated. Kind of drifted apart, not for any reason in particular, but he was up in Boston doing real estate private equity. I was in New York. And I just noticed we would connect through mutual friends. And he was the only other friend that I felt I'm like, oh, he does paleo and he does carnivore. And I'm doing marathons down in New Jersey, and he's doing marathons up in Boston. And so we ended up doing Ironman Waco together, which brought us to Austin. So we were here for a couple months. And then those 3 months living together, we would just talk all things nutrition, and we just had great energy, and it was so much fun spitballing these ideas. And we just left that experience. We just started blogging online and started the podcast, and that snowballed pretty nicely. And before we ever sold the bag of protein, we were just so passionate about teaching people about these little tips and tricks that we had learned from a nutrition standpoint. But we kept getting asked questions around protein powder and supplementation. And, unfortunately, I just never could tolerate whey protein well because of the lactose or maybe my ulcerative colitis.
Yeah, it messes you up.
So what I always say is hey, if you have no issues, if whey works for you, that's awesome, dude. Keep slamming the whey protein shakes. But a lot of people really struggle with the just the bloating, the GI issues. Some people get skin breakouts. And I'd been on the side, I was experimenting with a beef protein isolate on the side, but I'd never heard of that before because I was like, well, I don't want a plant-based source of protein. I didn't even know grass-fed beef protein existed. And so I started doing more research on it. Harry started taking it. He liked it as well. And we were also separately taking beef organ capsules. We were taking collagen powder. We were taking colostrum for some of the immunity benefits. And we were like, hey man, like we have this audience, people want clean protein. Why don't we just combine all of the things that we're separately taking that makes us feel really good, but also try to make the protein powder like taste delicious, like, not chalky.
So yours is so good.
Thank you, man. And today's actually a really special day. I don't know if you know this. Today's actually your 15th order with Noble, your subscription.
I saw one came
up.
through today.
I was like, this is number 15, and we're going to do this podcast together, which is really cool. So, man, we appreciate, you supporting us so much. You've been one of our early subscribers. But, yeah, man, it was as simple as like, hey, we just wanted to create a product that we wish existed in the marketplace, and we think we have an audience of people that would appreciate it. So let's go figure out how to get this made. Let's spin up a website, and let's just start selling it and learn CPG. So,
and you ran out a couple of months ago because you sold so many. That's how I met you.
We did.
Which, by the way, I want the audience to know that they actually called me, and that meant so much to me. I'll probably be a lifelong member, but just for that one thing, because I did that in my business. We talked about that.
Yes, we did.
When I couldn't afford to pay people, I called them, and they were shocked that I was calling them. And it's just, I think you just pick up the phone and call people.
Yeah.
So I commend y'all for doing that.
Thank you, man. We have about 2,000 subscribers, and I'm like, it's just so easy to optimize for the easy thing where it's like, oh, just send an email or just like automatically swap their product or whatever. And Harry and I were like, some of these customers have spent literally thousands of dollars with us. We have free time. We can't sell any product. Like, I don't know. I've just been thinking about that more of just how easy it is to just like that layer deeper is where all the gold is. And I think there have been a lot of moments in my past where I just haven't had the stomach to just go deeper. And I don't know, man, like I just want to maximize this opportunity that we have with Noble. So I don't know, that was just a small example of it. But then from that, there have been so many unintended benefits. And like we're sitting here on your podcast that probably wouldn't happen if we never got to speak on the phone.
I'd say there's a very high likelihood of that because I probably wouldn't even be doing it in Austin except for our conversation. And then it made sense. I'm like, well, I'm from here. I should come back here.
Yeah.
And now I'm probably going to do this as a normal tour.
Totally.
Just to do this because of that one conversation. So thank you for that.
It's awesome, man. You're 9 episodes deep. And yeah, next time you come back, I think there's some other guests that would be really good fit for the show. So,
sorry, what are you experimenting on? Anything new and exciting within Noble your guys are kind of looking at that you can talk about?
Well, I think you got to try the travel packs, right?
No, I haven't gotten them. I did not get those.
Okay.
So I'd love to get them though, because I do want them. Because like now, because when I travel, it's very hard. I'm putting them in Ziploc bags. So I would like to. I'm on an automatic.
Totally.
So I don't even go on your website because I just get my stuff. But you did send me the. Is it caramel?
The dulce de leche, but it tastes like salted caramel.
So I was like wrestling, but my chocolate came. I'm like, I'm good. I'm just gonna stick with it. But actually, that is really good. Like I was surprised. I didn't think I would love it as much as I did. I actually could have that one. Wouldn't miss the chocolate.
It's a little bit of a sweeter flavor profile.
Yeah, it's got salty, sweet. There's something about it, and there's a little caramely taste to me. And I thought it was really good. And I'm not a big caramel guy, so it's not over the top. I thought it was really good.
A lot of people like it in their coffee too.
So I drink mine with just water.
But I'm just like it straight.
I do double scoop out of the refrigerator, super cold water, shaker. You know, I'm going to have to start thinking about mixing it a little bit different because y'all have gone more natural, so it's not as easy to mix. Which, and in some ways, just so your listeners or our listeners know, is that I actually like the fact that it doesn't mix because it's almost a little chunky. Totally. And to me, I like it.
Yeah.
Now,
it's a good reminder of like, you know, you get so many customers. Everyone has different pieces of feedback. Some people will be like, oh, it's way too sweet. Some people will be like, oh, this isn't sweet enough, right? So you kind of have to meet in the middle and be able to like disseminate the truth. But one of the consistent pieces of feedback that we would get is, you know, because it's a grass-fed beef protein, how it's made is you basically take these cow bones, but you leave the muscle meat on and you slow cook that over time like you would make bone broth, and you freeze dry it. So the powder is not like whey, because whey is just like it's milk. This is literally the bone and the muscle meat of the cow. So it's not going to naturally emulsify the way that whey protein would emulsify. And so we used to put in a little bit of xanthan gum and then sunflower lecithin, which is made from like cold pressing sunflower seeds, and that would help the blending experience. But, you know, as time has gone on, you know, customers are rightfully becoming a lot more ingredient conscious. And so we were getting a lot of feedback of like, hey, we would love for you I would take this product if you pulled these two things out. And so what you're referring to is like we pulled out the xanthan gum, we pulled out the sunflower lecithin. The positive is that it's definitely a healthier product. The downside is that it doesn't blend quite as well. So that's why it's like if you have like a Vitamix or a Ninja blender, that's my favorite way to make it. You can still shake it if you put the right water, the right ratio of like liquid to protein powder in there, or even like a little power frother, like one of those little coffee frothers will help too.
Yeah. From Kaizen, I have one of those.
Yes,
Yeah.
but that's like the trade-off where it's like, do you maximize ingredients or blending experience and flavor? So it's just this like constant dance between all these things.
Yeah, I'd rather go natural. I mean, there's just, we've gotten too accustomed to things being like perfect, and that was just never the way it was intended anyway.
Totally.
I mean, things are just what they are.
Exactly.
So, but I did remember, I think I texted you, like, hey, this is different. And you're like, well, here's one. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
That's all I needed to know. So do you drink yours just with water and mix it? Is that how you do yours? Or do you do milk?
Yeah. So when I'm cutting, I'll normally just do water and some ice in a Vitamix because the ice gives it like a little bit more depth, or like it helps kind of fill my stomach up a bit more. Yeah, like if I do if I do anything with chocolate, it'll just be like some grass-fed milk or something like that. The vanilla is good because it's you can do a lot more with it. I feel like where you could do frozen fruit, you could do peanut butter powder. Some people put like a shot of espresso in there too and blend everything up. But typically it's just like chocolate with water and then maybe throw some ice in there at the end.
Man, I bet you espresso would be good in that.
It would be good. The chocolate would be probably more of a mocha, but the vanilla would be like a creamer kind of.
Yeah, but I'd go chocolate. I just like chocolate.
Yeah.
I mean, growing up, vanilla was always the choice way, 40 years ago. So, but now I prefer the chocolate.
Yeah. And it's a little bit saltier. The version you have is saltier. We put in a little bit more Himalayan rock salt. Yeah. So it's actually almost like an electrolyte product to mix in there too, because there's 400 milligrams of sodium from the Himalayan salt in there.
For the whole bag or per bag?
Per scoop.
I'm doing 2 scoops too.
So you're getting like 800. So it's almost like an element pack.
Yeah,
so you're getting electrolytes.
Like, what am I getting? 84, 82 grams of protein? Is it 41 grams? What is your total grams of protein?
It's actually 20 grams a scoop.
20. Yeah. So I'm getting 40. That's what it is. Okay.
You're getting 40 and then you're getting 200 calories. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my first break of my fast is that every morning after I work out. That's the first thing I take. Yeah, I get out of my sauna, come straight in the house, and I take that. I try because I'm only in the sauna for 20 minutes. I think you're supposed to do like within 20 minutes of an intense workout. I'm close enough. But
you ever throw it in Greek yogurt? You like Greek yogurt?
So I just started doing yogurt recently, but I haven't done it with that. That doesn't, in my mind, that doesn't look good to me. But I do blueberries, bananas, and strawberries with that now.
Nice.
Because I'm not a big fruit guy.
Yeah.
So I bought one of those, I guess they're ninjas or whatever. And those things are freaking awesome.
They're incredible. You can throw anything in there and blend it up.
Yeah. So I've almost, if I wasn't lazy, and I probably will at some point, I'll put your protein in that and try it. Yeah. Because it'll just see if I like it better mixed.
One of my favorite ways to take it, because there's some mornings where I just don't want all that liquid in my stomach. Every once in a while, I'll buy like the non-fat Greek yogurt from the supermarket. In the there's very few things that are a superfood. I think Greek yogurt's a superfood because the calories are so low, the protein is so high, and the non-fat has 0 grams of saturated fat. So what I'll do is I'll take a larger bowl, throw a scoop of chocolate in there, do like 200 grams of Greek yogurt, and you mix it. You got to mix it a lot with a spoon. But at the consistency, it comes out like a protein-packed like chocolate pudding at the end of it.
You just eat it.
Yeah, I'll throw some maybe some frozen blueberries on top. It's one of my favorite ways to use the product.
Okay, so I'm going to try that.
Yeah. Because that'll probably get you like 350 calories, 60 to 70 grams of protein. So you're like halfway at your goal right there.
Yeah, I'm trying. My problem is my guys got me on 175 to 185 grams of protein a day, and I'm struggling.
It's a lot.
Like, that's a lot.
Yeah. So if you do that Greek yogurt, it would probably get you close to 70. So you'd be almost halfway there. Because if I don't front load in the morning, I'm definitely not going to hit my goal.
Oh, same for me. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm the exact same way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I struggle. Matter of fact, that's been my biggest problem is I never hit the goal.
Yeah.
So you said y'all are doing the travel packs now. Those are on your website?
They're not ready yet.
Okay.
But they're going to be. So the travel packs is big.
That's going to be big because I
yeah.
like travel stuff. Like
You come to Austin, right?
Yeah.
Throw 10 packs in, you're good. Doesn't take up any suitcase space. We get that from our customers a lot. And then the other thing too is from a brand standpoint, you know, we're selling a premium protein. It's $79, 63-ounce subscription. It's not the cheapest protein because it's quality, but you throw those travel packs in like a retail store, and they're like, "Oh, Noble, like I'm not ready to buy a full bag, but let me buy a pack for like $4 and make sure I like it." And then when they like it, they come back and buy the full bag too. So it's really good to drive trial.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. So when do you think you'll have those ready?
Next 2 months, I would say.
Okay.
But we have some prototypes, so I can send you some of the prototypes, and they're pretty cool.
Yeah, because I'd go ahead and pre-order them now.
Yeah,
you can do that because I'd like to have them because, like I said, I'm not lazy because I pack all my supplements. Yeah. But man, that'd be just one less thing. Like creatine, I gotta sit there and scoop them out, and my hydration, I scoop them out. It's a pain in the butt.
We're thinking about maybe doing a creatine electrolyte product in the fall.
I would do anything I could do to quit doing the powder if I could somehow or another, because what I do is I take and mix it with an electrolyte, and that's what I drink in the morning first thing. I take 5 to 7, depending on the, how big a heaping scoop I get. So, but I bought some of the Roar bars, but the problem for me is because I'm such a binge eater, I'll freaking eat 4 of them. Yeah, and that will mess my stomach up.
Too many of those.
Yeah, I just can't. But I still do it anyway. I'm such an idiot.
I know.
And
but you bought them. They're there,
and I'm in the
right?
bathroom. And I'm like, this is so stupid. And then what I do the next day, same thing.
I do the same thing.
Yeah, and it's very, very
I
frustrating.
know, you're like, don't I learn from myself?
No.
Yeah.
No, not at all. So tell me about more of y'all's future stuff. You're going to try to do a few more products, and then you're going to try to continue to expand, do you think, on this product line? Or what are y'all's long-term goals on this?
Yeah, we've when we started, it was more so like, hey, we believe in the concept of this protein so much. Let's just let's prove that we have product market fit. And I think as we evolved, especially in 2026, the CPG industry is so big. There's so much good marketing, but there's like a few staples that actually work and get you bang for your buck. So one of the things we've been thinking about as a brand is like, how do we, like the word like ritual has been coming to mind a lot. Like, how do we create products that are so good and actually work where, you might have like 4 or 5 touch points with Noble throughout the course of your day. So we really like the concept of just stacking creatine and electrolytes into one. Maybe it's like a stick pack or a scooper or something like that. Something that you're probably already combining and could like take before you get in your morning coffee or before you go into the sauna.
I'm doing that now.
Okay.
100%.
Yeah.
So a pack. So I started buying some of these electrolyte packets more even because I had the jars. They're kind of a pain in the butt. And then I can, like I said, I throw them in my backpack. Yeah. I'm good.
Yeah. The packs are so easy. So I think it would be a pack. And it would be like 5 grams of creatine, nice hefty serving of like really high quality electrolytes. And then the other thing we've been thinking a lot about is like a real food, like meat-based multivitamin. Because so many parents are like, they've been taking the same Centra multivitamin that's synthetic for the last 30 years. But really, it's like when you take most of the vitamins and minerals that the majority of Americans are deficient in, like you can get those from real food sources and pack them into a capsule. So we're starting to do some light product development on that, but it's a long-winded way of saying like there's definitely other SKUs, ideas, use cases, products that, we want to be able to create and put out to the market in the next 6 to 12 months. So we'll see.
Yeah, no shortage of opportunities. What about podcasting?
Podcasting was interesting because I almost felt like we temporarily gave up the good to go for the great. And why I say that is like, we've done over 400 episodes. It was like the heart and soul. Yeah. Well, at one point we did like 35 episodes in a single month when we were first trying to get it going. And we met so many good people. It's why Noble exists. But here and I had a really honest conversation last summer around the fact that it just felt like we were doing too much. And there were things that the business of Noble needed. So we've honestly had the podcast on pause just to build up, infrastructure, supply chain, picking the right partners, building out the team. And we feel like we're at a spot now by this summer. We hope to ideally like relaunch the podcast in a big way and make it more tied to Noble. So it was a tough decision in the moment, but we both feel like it was the right decision ultimately. But can't be everything to everyone.
No, and you got to have to focus on certain things at the right time.
Totally.
Have you read the book Rocket Fuel?
No.
Okay. Well, I'm going to give you that afterwards. I'll get you that link.
Okay.
You need to read it. You and Harry both need to read that because I didn't read that book until I was 62 years old, and I wished I would have read it 40 years ago because it'll help you to determine what your positions are within the company.
Yeah.
And it'll help you because at some point that's going to become a head, and you're going to have to. It would be better to plan on it today than when it possibly becomes an issue.
Be a little bit more proactive. Very
proactive. I hired a COO when I figured that out, and my company's business has just exploded because I was always, and I didn't realize this, but I was the hindrance to the company.
Yeah.
Because I was a visionary, but I wasn't an implementer, and I had to hire somebody to implement my vision. And when I did that, I hired 2 people, and it changed everything for us. In this book, it doesn't take any time to read it. Do it audio. It's super easy read. I mean, it's crazy.
That's awesome.
I wished I'd have read it. And it's when you read it or you listen to it, whatever, you're like, oh, well, that kind of makes sense. It'd be great to do it at 32 instead of 62.
Mm-hmm. Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing to think that there's people out there that not only do they love it, but they're far more competent at the things that are your weaknesses that you hate to do. And like intuitively, it's like, just bring those people on and they'll do that stuff all day long. And
this
you can focus
guy
on your skill set.
loves doing this stuff. Like
he loves it. Yeah.
He loves it. Like he sends me these emails and I'm like, man, that is amazing. And I couldn't do it the same. He has to write the emails just so I'll read them.
Totally.
Because if they're too long, I'm like, yeah, this is too long. I don't like reading.
Yes. Yeah. Like he thinks about ops the way you think about like business development or podcasting or whatever, which is it's a hard paradigm to think about, being like, how does someone love the things that I hate? But that's the beauty of being humans. And put the pieces together a compliment. Yeah. Just like you said about your wife, you guys like complement each other perfectly,
we're 100%,
right?
Yeah, 180% opposites, and hence Rocket Fuel. You put the two together and you create Rocket Fuel.
Totally.
And that's when you read this. So.
Yes.
Well, we always run out of these things too fast. So tell us how we get a hold of you, the website for Noble. Obviously, I'm a big fan. I'm a paying customer. I love your product. So let's figure out how we get a hold of you. And let's talk about that podcast.
Yeah, man. Well, order number 15 is no small feat. So again, just man, thank you so much for using the product and spreading it to all your people, and even having me on the show, man. Just getting to build this in-person relationship is incredible. So thank you. But yeah, if you're interested in checking out some of the grass-fed protein, nobleorigins.com is the best way. We have 30-day subscriptions, chocolate protein, vanilla protein, and we have some new stuff that we're working on. My Instagram is Meat Mafia Brett, and then my X handle is also Meat Mafia Brett too. So I would say I'd say just DM me on Instagram. That's probably the easiest way to get a hold of me.
Excellent. All right. We won't give them your personal cell phone. Let me know. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Let's don't do that. You have all kinds of phone calls. So love to finish our podcast with this famous question is, do you think you were born or made so far? I'm like, because I always think about all you young guys because it's going to change. So right now, do you think you were born or you think you were made?
That's a good question. I think that I'm going to answer this a little bit more long-winded, and you probably have a great perspective on this. I feel like as men hit their late 20s and early 30s, I think we're more of a finished product than we actually realize. Like there's like these like innate characteristics that God has given us since the time that we were a young boy that like kind of always follow you throughout the course of your life. And that's also something that's helped me a lot is like you don't have as much time as you think you have. But yeah, I think God created us, but we're ultimately like making ourselves every single day. So I think we're more so made.
I love that. I always like made. I don't know why. That's a good answer though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it's like God is like the master author and he has that plan, but like there's still things that you need to do and have control over.
You have free will.
On a daily basis. Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's encouraging, right? That it's like you can literally choose in this moment to actually put like the right foot forward.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have that choice too. Yeah, that's
great.
great.
There's like certain mental models where I'll almost forget about it and then it will pop up in my head a couple months later and I'm like, man, I should be thinking about this every single day because every time I do it, like, re-energizes me, recharges me, whatever. Because it's just easy to hyper-fixate on your weaknesses or losses or whatever versus like, no, man, like literally in this moment, like just go.
That's a good answer. I love it, Brett. Well, thank you. I appreciate you very much for being on the Born or Made podcast.